कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, अरे कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो। साहब मिले सबूरी में, अरे साहब मिले सबूरी में, मन लागो यार फकीरी में, मन लागो।
Strange is the mind of man. It fears nothing more than that which it loves the most. Every movement, every desire, just everything about the mind is an attempt towards freedom. And how the mind wants to escape away when really confronted with freedom. On one hand, we devise 1,000 ways and desperate methods to somehow come to the truth. And then we ensure that none of those methods succeed. We spend an entire lifetime chasing that which is so easily available. And to ensure that the chase continues, we deny and defy its instant availability. Those who have loved, those who had compassion, wanted to help us. A 1,000 hints they gave to us. Not more than hints can anyway be given. Truth or freedom are not objects. That can be transferred from one hand to the other. What they are can only be a matter of very subtle gesturing. The method of self-enquiry is one such hint. The Upanishads say that Koham is a most important question, probably the only question of importance. The Upanishads speak from their silence, from where the Rishi is sitting, and we hear from our noises, from where we are sitting. It must be, first of all, very obvious that we are bound to misinterpret and misunderstand. It has become fashionable in spiritual circles these days to keep talking of who am I. Koham. And variously it is said that the mind experiences a certain peace on asking this question, that there can be no answer to this question, or that the only right answer to this question is that I am Brahm or Atman, or that one can only remain silent when this question is asked. A lot of such things are said. But tell me, who can ever ask, who am I? Does the universe ever say who? Does the flowing river say am? Do earth and sky say I? The moment one says, who am I? Or even who? One is already established in his particular identity. Is it possible to ask any question when one is not in a particular state of consciousness? Would this question remain, for example, in deep sleep, or even when the questioner changes, just a fickle change of mood? If self-inquiry becomes a method, then asking who am I only reinforces the I, because he is the inquirer, he is the questioner. The more you ask who am I, the more you are standing on your I position. And standing at your I position, whatever you ask will not take you away from that position. Going away from that position is not a matter of acting from that position. It is just a matter of instantaneous dropping. Continuing with all my identities, what do I mean by asking who am I? And people come up and say that when the question who am I is asked, then I have no answer. Really so? When you are asking who am I, at that moment if somebody calls out your name, won't you respond? You are deeply engrossed in any method. Any method. And in that moment, somebody touches you. You are engaged in methods of meditation. You are engaged in methods of self-inquiry. 1,000 methods are in circulation these days. Somebody comes to you and touches you. Don't you immediately respond? Somebody calls out your name. Don't you react? What does that show? That you already know who you are. And who are you? You are the body that has been touched. You are the name that has been called. Now this is quite strange. In fact, this is hypocritical. I already know who I am. I am quite convinced about it. And yet I am inquiring, who am I? Who am I? And not only am I inquiring who am I also have a preset answer with me, which is that there can be no answer to this. So I convince myself that to this question I should write no answer, and that is the right answer. Such are the deceptive games of the mind. I would again like to ask the practitioners of this so-called method, do you have any right to ask who am I when you are firmly entrenched in your I identities? I already know who I am. And the proof of that is if I am given a sheet of paper and asked to write 50 statements beginning with I am, I'll be able to write 51. I am a father, I am a son, I am angry, I am an Indian, I am going somewhere, I am 6 feet tall, I am a diabetic, I am wonderful, I am Atman, I am the Vijnanmaya Kosh. Whatever you want to write, you may write. But would there be anybody who would leave that sheet blank? Well, I am assuming a bit of honesty. You can indeed leave that sheet blank if it has been fed into you that you must leave that sheet blank. And a lot of such things have indeed been fed into us. The fellow would then say, I am so smart that I am not going to fill this sheet. I am so smart that I am not going to fill this sheet because I can have no identity. I am wise, and the wise one can have no identity. What is this whole deceptive game? You ask yourself a question which is not your question at all. Do you have any confusion or doubt regarding who you are? Aren't we all fully convinced about who we are? Are we or are we not? And don't give theoretical answers. Look into your lives. When your wife calls you as your husband, do you have any doubt about your identity? Yes? When there is a headache, do you ever say that the ache is not unto me, for I am not the head? Does it ever happen? We are fully sure about where we stand. And then comes a question to us which is not at all a question arising from an honest observation of facts, from seeing that what I think is not squaring up with what I observe. Comes a question to us which is not our question, and along with the question comes an answer to us which is not our answer. And it is such a nice entertainment. Ask yourself, who am I? Answer yourself, I do not know. Result, proven that I am spiritual. Ask yourself again, who am I? Answer, I am the infinite silence. Proven, you are wise. First of all, have we come to a point where there is such desperation and dismay in the mind that we are brought to question the fundamentals? And that kind of fundamental desperation in which the mind can question even its own foundations is possible only when one is firstly inquiring into the facts of living. Solid, hard, obvious, visible, present facts. Asking imaginary and hypothetical questions is no substitute to honest observation. You have to ask, why am I not in a good mood right now? And when I say you have to ask this, I'm not proposing this as a method. I'm saying you do not like your mood right now, so you are in any way not all right with it. There are very few people who are all right in their skins. We are uncomfortable, restless. And that restlessness is the only method from there must one begin, because except for that there is no reality. If you begin from anywhere else, you are beginning from an imaginary point. You are beginning from a false center, and when you are beginning from a false point, it will be very difficult to come to the truth. You must begin only and exactly from where you are, for there can be no other place to begin from. And where are you? You are here. Forget all the spiritual tenets. You are here. And here is this place, this time. And when I am speaking to you, the mortal body. Forget all about Atman and Brahm. You are here, sitting upon these chairs, wearing clothes, hearing, using aids called ears, watching, using stuff of flesh called eyes, experiencing, using a mass called brain. And this is the only fact, the only reality. And apart from this, if you are talking of anything, you are just deluding yourself. Unfortunately, in the name of spirituality, only this is avoided. All so-called spirituality is just a ploy to escape the fact of your living. You are a grandmother now, and you too want your share of entertainment. And it is nice entertainment to pick up your yoga mat and escape to some point a little away from the humdrum, from the chaos of family life, and do something physical. Now, this were wonderful had it come from a clear realization of one's situation. Had the grandmother said that I am frustrated with the way I live, I do not at all like this mundane routine, so I want to get up and hop away in the morning, try some girlish outfits, do something that will keep my body fit and make me feel alive, then it would have been wonderful. Now the morning jaunt is coming from a clear realization that life is not all right. But instead of that, the stuff in the morning, the meditation and the yoga mats and all, they come as a spiritual pursuit. Now, that's not quite honest. And what begins from dishonesty cannot take you to the truth. Do not ask, who am I? See that you already are a lot. You are 1,001 identities. What is this surprising thing about asking, who am I? Who does not know who he is? Except in settings like this, is there any place where you do not know who you are? The postman comes. Don't you know who you are? Yes? The doctor calls out your name. Don't you know who you are? You are encashing a check. Don't you know who you are? Or would you take a check in somebody else's name? At every moment in daily living, you very well know who you are. But when you reach a meditation hall, a shrine, then you suddenly forget who you are. Then you start asking, who am I? Who am I? Whom are we deceiving? Whom are we deceiving? Begin from what you know yourself to be. And there is no obligation to begin. Do not begin at all if you are all right with what you think yourself to be. Spirituality is not a divine mandate. You don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to ask profound questions. If you are all right with the way you are living, then why waste your time here? And I'm serious about this. Go have fun. It's March. The flowers are blooming. Go have fun. But we are not all right with the way we are. Begin from there. No one likes to be not all right. Do you like to be not feeling well? Do you like when something appears to be amiss? Do you like it when there is something buzzing at the back here? Do you like it when something feels a little hollow? Here or here? And I'm talking body. I'm not talking Paramatman. Do you like it? Do you like it when you do not want to get up from the bed in the morning? Do you like it when you are not able to do what you know to be right? That's the fact of our living. the incessant struggles, the conflicts, the contradictions, the betrayals, the hopes, the resolutions, the desires. That's living direct and simple. And you do not need a teacher, a guru, or a granth to tell you that. You are alive, and when you are alive in experiences. Aren't you already experiencing a lot? And I repeat, if you are alright with the experience, if the experiencer is okay, and I'm not even saying blissful, I'm saying okay. If the experiencer is okay, then trudge on. Keep hopping merrily. If the experiencer is not okay, if the experiencer feels inhibited, unexpressed, suffocated, stressed, then without a method, directly look into your condition. And I repeat, even that does not require the support of any teacher or any scripture. Yours is the restlessness, and yours is the eye that can see what you are experiencing. Just simple honesty. First of all, you will have to accept that you are restless. And the moment you say you are restless, the question, who am I, is answered. Who am I? I am restless. Now, that question has no value. Who am I? I am restless. And when you accept that you are restless, when you acknowledge it, when you name it rightly, we live in names. When you name it rightly, then the next step by itself opens up. You don't have to go into some esoteric realms of consciousness. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to experience blue lights or inner vibrations. People do all of that. Things start vibrating in different parts of the body. Some reptile starts rising up the spine. Various things start happening. Mostly it is gastric trouble. Just see where you stand, and only you can see where you stand. Only you. The other can only encourage you. The other can only stand as an affirmation, as a proof. The other can only keep saying that if I can know, then my being is a validation of the truth. You too can know, but the other cannot do it for you. And when I'm saying do it for you, even that is an overstatement, because nothing needs to be done. You only have to know what you are already doing. Nothing extra needs to be done. No method is needed. When it is said that no method is needed, what is implied is that there is no task to be done. Had there been anything left to be accomplished, had any extra measure been required, then you would have needed to travel a distance, exert yourself, do something. Now what do you want to do? You are already doing so much. Just know what you are doing. And the doer is always in a position to know what he is doing. And except for the doer, nobody is in that position. It's your life. You'll have to have your answers. It's another matter that the answers that you will get upon honest observation are the answers of entire mankind. They will be very general answers, yet very peculiar, specific and unique to you. You may get common cold, you may get flu. Now the flu virus is a very general virus. The same virus affects everybody, the whole mankind, even the animal kingdom. But when you get flu, is your suffering general or personal? Personal, right? Are you getting this? So even though the mind of mankind is one, but because you know yourself to be a person, which is very much all right. We know ourselves to be persons and we cannot just leap out of the person. When you experience flu, then your experience of suffering is a very personal experience. Yes, when you go to the doctor, he looks at you and he knows that he has looked at 2000 such cases. But to you, the 2000 cases do not matter, and they must not matter. Why must they matter to you? To you, what must be important is your own situation. Talk only about that. Do not talk about this and that. Do not talk about what happens after death. Do not talk about the love between Krishna and Radha. Do not talk about why Jesus was crucified. Do not talk about whether this or that was enlightened. A fellow comes, so very restless, and at the end of the session he says, "Sir, can you speak on Osho?" I say, "Sir, can you speak on yourself?" Why must you be so bothered about the world? Are your own travails not enough? When you honestly acknowledge where you stand, without mincing words, without the need for duplicacy, without the need to prove yourself right, without the need to prove yourself wise or spiritual, then you do not see what you suspected you would see. You know, that is why we close our eyes. We already believe. We believe we already know what we would see if the eyes are opened. No. Open your eyes. I assure you, you would not see what you think you are going to see. Open your eyes. Live in the immediate. The immediate. Do you know what is immediate? Your face is immediate. Why do you want to know the face of God? Look at your face. I am talking of something as ordinary as your face. Do you ever look at your face? Do you know what is immediate? Your clothes are immediate. Why are you wearing these clothes? Your body is immediate. The thoughts, they too. Your relationship with the hawker is immediate. Your relationship with your housemaid is immediate. The way you negotiate at the grocery store, that is immediate. Have you looked at yourself when you are so absorbed in those TV serials? That is immediate. Spirituality is not a method to shield your ways of living. You cannot say that you have meditated for half an hour in the morning and now you can carry on with life. Meditation is not life. What you call as meditation is some kind of a suspension of life. You have kept life aside. You are saying, I am stealing half an hour from life. No, this is too bad. Instead of 24 hours, now you are saying that your day is 23 and a half hours. Half an hour, you have created a different environment, almost an artificial one, which is not life at all. In your daily living, do you otherwise keep your eyes closed? Then what is all this business of sitting with your eyes closed? Your eyes are not even open and you want to close them down. Is that spirituality? In the Who Am I method, you are looking for an answer. Not only looking for an answer, you are definite about an answer when you don't even have the question. In meditation, you are closing your eyes when your eyes are not even open. What is going on? And then the remaining 23 and a half hours, you continue to be who you are. In fact, you take that half an hour out so that you can be more efficient, more dedicated, more composed in your pursuits during the 23 and a half hours. You say, I want to be a better shopkeeper. Of course, you don't enter into meditation to question the whole business about being in that shop. You don't enter into meditation to ask yourself how you feel sitting in that shop, and why you have to push yourself every morning to go to that shop. That is not the intention. The intention is that my shop must do better. You want to continue that which has been continuing since centuries. You don't want to disrupt it. You don't want to break out of the cycle. Instead of sitting in the shop and closing your eyes, open your eyes and see. What is this whole thing? What am I doing here? Is this what I was born for? Is this where I want to die? Is this how I want to have lived? And I am not pushing these questions into your mind. All I am saying is that, friend, you already have these questions. Acknowledge them. And if you don't have these questions, I have said it thrice, I say it again, if you don't have these questions, then don't bother yourself. If you don't have these questions, don't bother yourself. If you feel all right, comfortable, nice, settled, continue feeling settled. Nothing better than that. But most of us do not feel settled. Most of us feel uprooted. And if you are feeling uprooted, then that feeling is there with you, in front of you. Live with that feeling. Know it rightly. Don't shy away from it. Say that it exists. Don't pretend as if everything is hunky-dory. This basic honesty is the question, who am I? It is not asked. It is the subtlest of witnessing. It is not asked because the moment it is asked, you will be the questioner. And you have no right to question because you already know the answer. If you ask the question, then it is a dishonest question because you have no questions. You only have well settled answers and conclusions. The shopkeeper must not ask, who am I? He has no right to ask. He must just know what it means to be a shopkeeper. And this knowing is koham. This knowing is extremely subtle. The Rishi felt the need to communicate it. Communication happened through words. Some word was given, the word that was used was koham. Who am I? Now don't take it literally. He did not mean that you have to ask, who am I? It is so vulgar. Who am I only means know what is going on. And I repeat, even knowing is not required, because you already know. There is nobody here who does not know his real situation. You can pretend that you do not know, but everybody knows. You are afraid, and the proof of that is that your heart starts beating when you do not receive that particular phone call for 4 hours. You are already afraid, aren't you? Your child has not called you since 4 hours. And see the palpitations that you get. Now, have you been informed that there is some harm done to the child? No such information. Yet you are anxious, and what does that prove? That anxiety is already sitting in you. It does not have to depend upon the arrival of some news. That anxiety is not contingent upon a fact. No fact. Just that the child hasn't called, and you start expecting the worst. So who am I is akin to knowing what is happening. Just know what is happening. That is who am I. And that has to go on continuously. And I take back my words, because it is already going on continuously. Spirituality involves no practices, no compulsions, no dogmas. Otherwise it is just bigotry. Spirituality essentially is about telling you that whatever is to be known is already known. Wherever you were to reach, you are already there. The highest is already in your pocket. The truth is where you are already standing. You already are that which you have always wanted to be. Hence, there can be no question of spiritual achievement. There can be no question of reaching somewhere. Had you not known what I am saying, I would not have been able to say this. Actually, what I am saying is quite strange. Yet you very well know that it is acceptable. How am I able to talk to you? I am able to talk to you because you know what I am saying. And you do not know it because I have told it to you. You know it without anybody having ever told it to you. This is uncaused knowledge. This is the essence of our being. This is the truth. Truth that nobody needs to tell you. Truth that is seated in your heart. I am only reiterating. I am only bringing the news again to you. I am only reconfirming to you what you already know. And if you do not know what I am saying, then I have no way to tell it. Do you get this? It is that simple. If you are sweating, know that you are sweating. If love swells up in your heart, know that you are overflowing. And when you look at that overflow, when you look at that joyous exuberance, then you cannot suppress it. You can suppress something only when you maintain a distance from it. Suppression is so unfair, Have you seen how people who want to cheat you avoid coming in contact with you? Or even if they are standing in front of you, they would often avoid eye contact. You can be unfair to something, you can deny something its natural and proper place only if you are away from it. So look at yourself in the eye. When fear arises, when pain arises, when jealousy or insecurity arises, look at it. And when I'm saying look at it, I mean look at it with love. Do not look at it with rejection. You have no right to suppress yourself. Because you cannot suppress yourself. You are the only reality that you know. How can you get rid of that? Even if you are getting rid of that, you'll have to start from what you are. You are your only instrument. Without yourself, where would be this session? Where would be all the knowledge? Where would be all the Upanishads? Are you getting it? The way does not go through a book, a scripture, or a master. The way goes through you. Only through you. And you know the way. Nobody needs to tell you the way. You know the way. Yes, if you feel a little apprehensive, if you feel a need for support and encouragement, then you can go to a friend who could be a teacher and he could just say, go ahead. That's his only role, to say go ahead. But he cannot tell you, go ahead in that particular direction. Are you getting it? And it's a funny thing, because when you go to the teacher, you would often already know the answer. You go to him only for validation. And that's his only role, to do nothing. To just say yes. The teacher is just a big yes. Mr. Yes. Or Miss Yes. One has to be careful about such things. There is a lot that the teacher would say no to, but he would never say to no, because when you are doing something that needs to be met with a no, then you will not go to the teacher. So the opportunity where the teacher can say no actually never arises. Whenever you want to continue with your mischief, have you seen how you avoid the teacher? And if you are going to the teacher, obviously there is very little mischief left. So you won't have to take any corrective measures. You are going to him, sitting in front of him, you already know all your answers. That is why you are sitting in front of him. You are already honest and you are already acknowledging. You are not afraid. You have nothing to hide. That is why you are sitting in front of him. When you have a lot to hide, then you don't go to the teacher. So how will he say no? Then he can keep saying no from a distance. And you can keep running away so that you don't hear the no. You can say, oh, did he say no? No, no. It is an embarrassment. It is ridiculously simple. It is really an embarrassment why we have met here. It is so awkward. All this camera, this mic, this setting, this kurta, this gathering, all the mantras, and it's pure embarrassment. A fellow must know his face. As a so-called teacher, my job is not to tell you the truth. Who am I to tell the truth to the truth? My job is to just hit you hard when you are obsessed with the false. My job is to hit you hard when you talk big stuff. Look at how you squirm. Look at the immature restlessness. Look at the root of all your questions. And then you ask big questions. Only rarely have I encountered honest questions. Do you know what honest questions are like? Sir, why am I an idiot? No, that is an honest question. That is probably the only honest question. Instead, you ask for the difference between Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyas. And there is an entire video dedicated to that. And some people actually go and watch that video. You are the one who thinks 3 times before leaving 20 rupees for the waiter in the restaurant. You are that one. And what are you talking of Karma Sannyas? You are the one who pinched 100 rupees from the housemate's salary last month. And he is asking, what kinds of samadhi are there? I just need to wave a 100 rupee note at you. That's the answer. You are the one who would not let his daughter go to study in some distant college, in some distant study, in distant city. And you are asking, what is the meaning of equanimity? Equanimity. Sometimes Zen is the only answer. Pick up the glass of water and throw at your face. This is the answer. This is the only spiritual answer that there can be. Wife beaters, neighbor haters, animal eaters. All kinds of specimens gather. And then they start quoting Ashtavakra. there was one fellow from a university. Occupying a top position, a vice chancellor. Now a man from a university, that to a VC. So he comes and shows me his card. And the card is full of all kinds of stuff. This, that, 1,000 degrees, half of which I suspect were fake. And after showing me that card, which contained his entire kundali, he said, I have come to ask. I said, what? Who am I? What is that card for? Don't you know who you are? BRCS, TCK, NPO, LRCD. Who am I? I repeat, who am I is not a question. Self-enquiry is not a process. Kindly do not abuse the Upanishads. Never take the words of a wise one literally. He has an impossible task to do. He is expressing his silence through words. The words must be read in that regard. By saying 10 times, who am I, you will not forget who you are. You very well know who you are. And there is nothing wrong with that. Start from there itself. Starting from there itself is the real who am I. I would really be cautious of someone who says, I asked who am I and did not get an answer. Ramana Maharshi has the right to say that. We don't have a right to say that. When you ask who you are, you must get an answer. In fact, you must get more answers than you can handle. Because you, in fact, do have more identities and personalities than you can handle. Don't ask, just know. No, you are living in them as them. No. And even saying no is redundant because you already know. There is nobody here who does not know his mischief. There is nobody here who does not know what he is hiding and suppressing. Now, will you come out of the closet? Will you show your real face? And that is spirituality. Or will you keep pretending? Oh, you can keep pretending if pretending gives you some spiritual bliss. Yes. Let's proceed through your questions. Yes, you were quite eager.
So, why one has to be different in being successful at home and professional place of work? Why the definition, why the enablers of being good and successful at home and good and successful at work are different?
I don't know. I don't have any differences, so I can't tell. You have to tell.
So do you agree that one individual has a absolute identity and a relative identity?
It doesn't matter whether I agree or not. It is not a matter of principle or concepts. How will it matter to your life whether I agree or not? Ask yourself whether you have a fragmented identity, single identity, divided identity. We are not discussing academic questions here. It is our life that we live. What will you get by getting correct answers? You have to get answers that are applicable to you. You don't have to get a particular correct answer. You can't eat answers, you can't live on answers, you can't wear answers. You have to live. So you tell me, do you see the game of changing identities?
It is as similar as you have a coin and it has a two face. One has this individual identity, and second, what others see that in comparison to others. And you are always being seen relative to others at one place, and you see yourself what you are absolute in yourself.
Is that happening with you?
Is it not happening with the rest of others?
I'm asking, is it happening with you?
It does.
Then full stop. What is the question?
The question is how you can be equally successful in both.
Who can? You. I? You.
Correct.
So say how I can.
How I can.
How I can? Yes, now?
So how can, keeping the same parameters
Which parameters?
of being successful at home and successful at professional work, the relative connotation of success at workplace is different and absolute connotation of success at home is different.
So what is the question?
The question is how you continue behaving how I continue behaving in the same way, and why I should not have a mask at some time to behave differently.
You can keep a mask. If the mask pleases you, you can continue wearing a mask. There is no obligation of any kind in spirituality. In life rather. For me, life and spirituality are one, so I keep using them interchangeably. There is no obligation. If you are well settled, if you feel comfortable in your skin wearing masks, keep wearing masks. I am all for wearing masks if masks make you feel peaceful. There is no higher value than peace. If masks bring you to peace, wear masks.
Peace with self and peace with others.
There is only one peace. Do you experience two kinds of peace?
Does peace with self?
Who is experiencing these various kinds of peace?
Me, I.
If I ask you right now, how are you feeling? Will you say I have 102 and 104 temperature?
I have a feeling inside me which is different and maybe negating whatever you were saying. So two feelings. One feeling.
So there is only one feeling, right? That you are not feeling all right. Where are these two feelings? Where are these two feelings?
One feeling for self, one feeling for relative others.
How many people are sitting here right now? 1, 2 or 10?
Several.
Are you 10 people?
No, I'm one.
If you are one is talking. If one is talking, one word is being expressed. This one word is a resultant of everything that you are feeling. This one word is a sum total, a net resultant of all that is going on here, right? So if you want to split that, then you can split it not only in 2 but in 2000. How does that matter? Simply say, I am divided. I am the one who is divided, full stop. And if you are all right with remaining divided, then remain divided. Or just be a little more loving towards yourself and say, I do not like it. I want to get rid of this division. I do not like the way I am living. I do not like the way I have to divide myself at home and at workplace. I do not like to be fake. But I am not putting these words in your mouth. If you don't want to say them, please don't say them. I would be glad if you say that, but I won't force you to do that. I am nobody.
पता कैसे कि एक्चुअली किसी चीज़ में चाहते क्या है कि आज हम पीस ही चाहते हैं मुझे तो समझ लगा चाहता भी क्या हूँ मैं लोगों को पीस होंगे मुझे ये भी नहीं पता
Now, is there an obligation upon us to know the answer to this question?
हाँ सुन एक रेस्टलेसनेस तो है ही रहती है अब वो चाहती क्या है वो समझ नहीं आता
Is there an obligation to know why you are restless? If you do not put this pressure upon yourself that you must know why you are restless, would you still be restless? Equally restless? The ego says, I have the capacity to know why I am restless. Now the restlessness is the call of the truth. The ego can never really know it. But the ego says, I have the obligation upon myself to know why I am restless. And the moment it says that, its restlessness increases manifold. Just say, I am restless, and who am I to know why I am restless? No, that's cool. Cool. But you are the strong one, you are the wise one, you will say no. I am the diseased and I'll also be the doctor. I am restless and I'll also be the wise one who will know why I am restless. Just know, I am restless. I am restless. And that is surrender. I am restless. I am restless with no resistance to the restlessness. I am restless with no desire to get rid of the restlessness. Because when you have the desire, then you also have the obligation to fulfill your desire. When you have the obligation to fulfill your desire, you become the actor who will bring your desire to completion. And you have no power to do that. Whenever you will try to bring yourself to completion, you will utterly fail. So just know that you are restless and full stop. And in any case, is it not a full stop after that? If you could have done anything about your restlessness, you would have already done that. And you have already done much. To no avail.
Sir, right now, a few moments back, you said that don't ask, just know. And right now also you pointed out that we trying to know that why the restlessness is there is our disease.
Yes.
So what really is knowing?
Knowing is knowing. You already know. Knowing is not doing anything to prevent the knowing. Knowing does not mean that you have to go ahead and know. Knowing means you already know, now you don't step back. Knowing is your nature, which means that you don't have to know. Knowing is happening. There is nobody who does not know. The more you talk of knowing as a mystery, the more it will elude you. You already know. Now don't shy away from what you know. You know. Don't do 10 things to obfuscate the knowing. You know. That leaves us with very little to do. That is why we are a little uneasy. If truth, the ultimate, the complete, comes to us so easily, then what is left for us to do? Show some obstacle, show some challenge, then I can flex my muscles and say, I conquered the truth. You have no obligation to know anything because you already know. Whenever you will try to know, you will only reinforce your ignorance. Ignorance is nothing but personalized knowledge. It is only in such sessions that I have to talk like a wise man. Because otherwise you will not listen, otherwise you will not come. There is no word that I avoid more than pure self, Turiya, Atma, Brahma, Moksha, Nirvana, Mukti. These words must be absolute anathemas. You must have an allergy to the word called truth. Talk about the bread in your hand. Talk about the shoe that you are wearing. Talk about the soil under your feet. Talk about the email that you just sent. Talk about your relationship with your sister. Talk about your embarrassment when you are unable to meet your deadlines. Talk about all that. That is the rightful subject matter of all thought, talk and action. God must be totally forgotten. Totally and completely. Talk about all the trivia, all the rubbish, all the nonsense. That is what you must talk about. Instead, we talk so much about God and escape all the nonsense. All the talk about God is just a way to act blind to what is really going on in your life. Talk about that. Talk about your food. Talk about your money. Talk about your wife. Talk about this magic called life. I'm not saying do not read the scriptures. I'm saying do not abuse the scriptures. We read them to co-opt them, use them, abuse them. In fact, I have not met many people who have been helped by scriptures. I know many who have read a lot. I do not really see any light in their heart. To make things worse, it was me who suggested to many of them that they must read. I feel sorry. Reading has done them no good. You must read to forget. Huh? Forget God, remember yourself. Yes.
So when we know, then how come we forget? Why we forget when we know?
Because you want to know yourself as something, somebody else. You know all that there is to be known. And except for you, there is no other reality worthy of being known. But then you are told that there are 1,000 other things more important, and you start giving them weightage. You say that I have just now known myself to be afraid, but I have been told that the real man is never afraid. So now you will try to not know what you already know. What do you already know? That you are afraid. But you have been told that the real man must not be. So now you will try to unknow what you know. You are afraid. Obviously you know you are afraid. The very consciousness of fear is the acknowledgement that you know. If you do not know fear, how are you experiencing fear? Experience is the knowledge. And you don't have to go for spiritual experiences. Life itself is spiritual. Every experience that you have from morn till night is a spiritual experience. Not only within this room, there outside on the road with the traffic signal. All experiences are spiritual. All experiences are spiritual if you know them. And no experience is spiritual if you suppress it. That is the definition of a spiritual experience. Experience, when acknowledged, is a spiritual experience. And that acknowledgement is your nature. So you don't have to do anything special to acknowledge. The matter is as uncomplicated as a naked child standing in front of you like this. Now, how can you ignore him? How can you deny him? And he is smiling at your face. In fact, he is poking fun at you. Have you seen kids make faces at you? That's truth. It will stand naked and make faces. What kind of faces? It's jeering you. and you are trying to act the knowledgeable one. I have two centers of feeling. One is adhyatmic, other is sansarik, and that one there, the small one, is throwing jibes at you. Live simply. Don't kill love. For 2 hours, they discussed the ontological differences between the Hasidic approach and the Vedantic approach. And then they quarreled who would pay the bill. Finally, the poor and illiterate restaurant owner had to intervene. He said, "You wise, knowledgeable people, you can carry on with your expedition of the truth outside. Here, can you just pay me my money?" A lady once came to the Bodhsthal with her kid, and she was carrying a copy of the Gita. Her child spoiled that copy. She was in front of me in my room, and probably she felt a need to prove to me that she is a worthy listener, a fit disciple. So she really scolded the child hard. What did you just do? You know, this is the Gita. What can the Gita teach you? This incidence should teach you everything. What can the Gita teach you? Besides my bed, some 20 books are kept. I'm still to read them. When I want to read something, I pick it up from the library and keep it beside my bed. Often it just keeps lying there. So I kept them there and went to Rishikesh for 2 weeks. I came back and my roommates, the 5 rabbits. They had feasted on the books. Ate themselves, or the cover pages at least. Now what do I do? Scold the rabbits? Abuse them of blasphemy? Hold them as heretics? Order that they must be lashed? You turned the metaphysical word of God into your mortal food? For you, the Upanishads are just cellulose. No, it's all right. The Gita is not the stuff kept on the table. The Gita is the sky in which millions of rabbits and millions of Gitas exist.